You're watching Notepad and I'm your host Ibrahim Sani. Our focus today continues on mental health and mental well-being. Previously, we've had befrienders here on the show discussing about the role they play in helping those that are in need to reach out, ring them up, have a discussion, talk about the issues, and perhaps, if needed, talk them out of taking their own life or making sure that they don't hurt themselves even further. That was a critical interview that we had with befrienders. You can watch that on this channel. Just search for historian.com, look for befrienders on Notepad. After that, we've had a conversation with the Dean of Medicine of UiTM, as well as a psychiatrist there. She's also a lecturer. The two of them discussed at length about the need for universities, particularly those that are big in Malaysia, such as UiTM, to have a more engaged role in how they can best help university students in achieving a greater mental health awareness and, of course, addressing key issues such as enabling or training counselors, psychologists and many others, or therapists, in trying to get them to be better equipped in dealing with mental health issues amongst university students. So here in this particular interview, I speak with two doctors. One is a specialist in psychiatry, Associate Professor Dr. Salmi Razali. She is also a lecturer at UiTM, as well as a medical officer and a women's mental health advocate, Dr. Deepa Sreenivasan. Ladies, thank you for taking the time to speak with me for this particular episode. I would like to ask you a little bit about women mental health, because what we do know is that statistics have shown that women are more prone to mental health issues compared to men. So therefore, would it be appropriate for us to give a greater focus on trying to ascertain what drives this or what causes this more or prevalence amongst women than men? Dr. Salmi, perhaps you can share your views.
I'm actually a general psychiatrist, but I specialize in women's and perinatal mental health, because I did my PhD on actually infanticide, and during my studies I've learned that women are exposed to what we call poly-victimization. Not only we're talking about women becomes the victims of violence, but women also sometimes become the victims of socio-cultural problems.
Okay.
So when we talk about infanticide, we're talking about domestic violence, we're talking about women become the victims of drug abuse partners who are having who's drug addicts. Yes, and they end up with mental health problems. So this is an area of things which is very important in Malaysia. And another thing, it is important for us to look into Malay called meroyan. So it's psychiatric problems which occurs among women in the perinatal stage, before and also after pregnancy.
And of course, this has increased over time, or it's about the same?
Comprehensive treatment, we call it. Comprehensive treatment. And if you look at theories, for example, human being cannot stand alone. So we have...
We're a social creature. We're social species.
Yes. So when you talk about mental health, we should not talk about only the women, but we have to talk about the family surrounding them, the spouse especially, and then the neighborhood, the community, and then it's actually really it's also the policy. The government policy, the media, the legal aspect of, for example, the act that we have.
The issue right now is on what can the people do and what can the system help. Predominantly budget, which we have discussed that all ministries are now being afflicted with lower budget than before. But what can we maximize those budget with? For instance, what can the Ministry of Health do to maximize the amount of spending that they can have right now?
In Malaysia right now, there's a Ministry of Health together with Ministry of Education, now sitting together to plan for our future, preparation for our future psychiatrists. And we have what we call, soon we're going to have our parallel program, so that MOs like Deepa can join a parallel program to become a psychiatrist. Not only depend on Ministry of Education, but they can continue further studies using a parallel program. So we hope that through this kind of movement, giving alternative for medical officers, we can get more and more psychiatrists.
So Dr. Deepa, of course, you have been identified as one of the spokesperson in terms of advocating mental health amongst women. Let's discuss a little bit about what you do in particular in advancing the awareness of mental health for women.
Well, as Dr. Salmi has said, the postpartum period is indeed a very important period in a woman's life. So I have given lots of focus as well as talks, regarding postpartum depression and so on. Apart from that, I do a lot of women empowerment work, such as advocating for education among women, because I believe that education among women is the key to ensuring a good status of mental health among women.
All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Dr. Deepa and Dr. Salmi. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for staying on with us. This issue or this episode is actually quite interesting because we want to zoom in on women mental health or mental health amongst women in Malaysia. And joining me is Dr. Salmi Razali, a psychiatrist, as well as a person that is deeply entrenched in women mental health care. And joining her is Dr. Deepa Sreenivasan, who is a women's mental health advocate. Dr. Salmi, let's talk a little bit about the role that you are moving forward with right now.
It's actually like this. Our emotions come in a spectrum from normal, stress condition, what we call distress, and abnormal condition, where we're having mental illness. Let's say if we have sadness. Sadness is actually normal. It's normal for us to be sad. You see, if I break up with my boyfriend, for example, I feel sad. But when the sadness continue, prolong more than 2 weeks, and plus your function is disturbed. For example, if a student absent from school, if workers ponting, and then you manifest with behaviors risk to others or risk to yourself. Yeah, so you lost your function. You're a bit risky, not only to yourself and others, and you fulfill certain criteria of changes in emotions, then you are said to have mental illness.
But this depends on the person's ability to recognize self-awareness. If the patient doesn't have self-awareness, very little self-awareness.
Surroundings.
So which is why our education on mental health tends to target the population rather than the affected ones. Because we expect family members and the community, friends and family, to be able to identify these signs and symptoms, regarding certain conditions.
I mean, this is a serious issue that we all have to look into. What would be some of the key factors that we can ascertain moving forward?
We hope that Malaysia is open and can accept psychiatric explanations of the psychotic phenomenon, emotional disturbances, but still ingrained in our society there, strong belief in this paranormal kind of mystic kind of explanations that, like I'm saying just now, we have a very big task and responsibility to actually increase our promotional activities to the society, to let them know what is actually mental health problems and psychiatric problems. It is actually still a big responsibility for us.
All right, tell me more about this.
The tertiary prevention is for us to minimize the complications. So even though somebody have illness already, we should minimize the illness. For example, in this case, the primary prevention, we should highlight how is the proper parenting skills, what is ADHD, for example, in this case, disruptive behavior among children. So we must highlight that so that people outside there know what is a mental health problem.
I agree with you. That's a challenge, but we'll have to continue educating, and I think it is not something which is which can be achieved in a year or two in the short term, but we're looking more into the long term.
For example, those with countries with high development index.
HDI?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Malaysia has one of the highest.
Yes, but...
bizarre, but yes.
Yeah.
Bizarre but true.
Yeah.
We're like 89 or something like that.
Yes,
yeah.
but still, if you look at the disparity between those who have high income and low income, what we call Gini index, still there. Yeah, we have gender inequality index also still very high.
Dr. Deepa, do you see your role as changing over time, or this is going to be very particular that you need to focus on right now?
Oh, it is a challenge, especially I think for any psychiatrist who's working in an Asian country. I think Dr. Salmi would probably agree with me. So, like Dr. Salmi said, we spend a lot of time with our patients, not just giving them treatment, but a lot of time psychoeducating these families who especially are very tied to their cultural beliefs. Where sometimes
but these are belief, these are core things. This is not just what you want, nasi goreng, mi goreng. No,
these are cultural beliefs. That's right. So a lot of campaigns are being done. A lot of seminars are being done. A lot of efforts such as psychoeducation sessions are being done by the hospital per se, in fact, by the government hospitals per se, to the public. Educating them about basic major mental illnesses. I won't say that we're expecting a miracle, no, but I would say that there has been an improvement in terms of education now on mental health, and you find more and more people or the community actually coming forward to get an opinion.
All right, tell me more.
Well, this actually starts and it stems from childhood, where, like I mentioned earlier, where the mother actually educates her children that, that there is no such thing as gender stereotype roles that we play. In today's world and in today's community, you have both males as well as females who are running households and trying to earn an income for the family. Therefore, I think it would be a little unfair in just focusing on one particular gender in fulfilling their social role or expected social role. So yes, I still believe that this falls still, into education and educating, and it starts from home.
All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Salmi and Dr. Deepa. Thanks for staying on with us. We are talking about women's mental health and mental health in general as well. Dr. Salmi from UiTM as well as Dr. Deepa are here to discuss this at length. Dr. Salmi, what would be some of the key factors moving forward in addressing this problem?
Actually, to tackle the issues, whatever issues, we have primary prevention, secondary preventions, and also tertiary preventions. For primary preventions, creating awareness, increase the knowledge about certain issues, for example, in this case, parenting style, and also disruptive behavior could be ADHD, for example. So creating awareness is a preventive measures before the occurrence of the illness itself. Secondary prevention is when the illness is already there. We got treatment in hospital, so that is hospital's job, doctor's job, to treat the illness so that it won't go to a severe complication.
Okay. Dr. Deepa, some final words on this?
Of course, it would be great if we could have both genders equally educated on this, because and I think this still starts from a woman, because as a woman, you play the role as a mother and you raise a child, and what you impart to your male child or your female child in terms of respect for women, as well as education regarding the the multiple roles that women play and the stresses that they are vulnerable to. So the mom teaches the male child or the female child, and then, as this child grows up, they have this realization, and then they spread this realization over to, the community. I'm saying that in those countries, like Scandinavian countries as well as Western countries, I think the degree of destigmatization is greater than typically Asian countries.
Okay.
So people are more accepting of their conditions, and the need to visit a shrink or a psychiatrist is, more
Or a therapist,
a therapist. So they're more educated regarding that,
Okay.
and they're more open to the
Okay,
idea.
but this is a challenge afflicting Asia. This is not.
It's not Malaysia.
so
No, no,
not Malaysia. Yeah.
All right. Do you think that we have to draw this interview to a close? But do you think that there will be change, or change is slow, but it's coming?
Yeah.
Which one is which?
I personally think so. I personally believe so.
Yeah.
Do you aspire to be a psychiatrist as well?
I do.
Right.
I do.
It's fantastic. Dr. Salmi, I understand that there is an event happening tomorrow at UiTM. Would you like to share a little bit more about that particular event?
We have, for example, talks on suicide, on drug addiction, and mindfulness therapy, and we have also talking about stigma against those with mental health problems.
Fantastic. Thank you, ladies, again for taking the time to speak with us on this very important issue. Remember, if you're watching this show and you're looking for help, help is always there and it's always around the corner. There's plenty of people that you can reach out to, from medical professionals to befrienders to just a therapist or a counselor nearby. Primary healthcare providers such as Klinik Kesihatan is always nearby. Wherever you live in Malaysia, you can reach out to them as well. These are the kind of things that we perhaps we can help you guys to get what you need, including talking about this particular issue moving forward. If you've missed any part of this interview, just head on to astro.com, look for the interviews there. There's plenty of issues regarding mental health that we can discuss at length about. And if you want to help out on trying to raise more awareness about this issue, feel free to write to us or tweet to me at Ibrahim Sani Net about these particular topics. That's it from me for this particular episode. Again, joining me is Dr. Salmi Razali of UiTM, as well as Dr. Deepa Sreenivasan, talking about this issue moving forward. Thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.